Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Classic Movie Buffet Theater. Thank y'all for tuning in. I greatly appreciate it. I had originally made this video yesterday, but the sound was off. Didn't have any sound to it, hardly any at all. You couldn't hear anything, so I had to redo it. So here we are. If you haven't already watched it, I posted a Mikey's Saturday Nightmares early this morning, like 1 a.m. this morning. So if you haven't watched it yet, you need to go check it out. And check this one out as well. Alright, so on today's video, we're going to talk about an action film that came out on February 9th of 1990. The film was directed by a Bruce Malmuth. I think I'm saying the last name correctly. Don't quote me on it. And he directed such films as The Karate Kid, the original Karate Kid. He directed a film called Nighthawks with Sylvester Stallone and Rutger Hauer. And he also directed a film called Pentathlon. I believe I'm saying that correctly. I'm not sure. But it was with Dolph Lundgren. I have not seen that film, so I don't know anything about it. But of course, I've seen Karate Kid, and I've seen Nighthawks, which was an awesome film. So today we're going to talk about Hard to Kill with Steven Seagal. Like I said, it was directed by Bruce Malmuth, come out in 1990. Steven Seagal plays the character of Mason Storm, and he also played in such films as Under Siege, which is one of my favorite Steven Seagal films of all time. He also played in a film called Out for Justice and On Deadly Ground. All three of those films, very good films. Under Siege has to be one of the best out of all three. Tommy Lee Jones was amazing in that movie, and Gary Busey was great too. The film also stars Kelly LeBrock, who plays the character of Andy. She also played in such films as Wrongfully Accused with the great Leslie Nielsen. She played in The Woman in Red with Gene Wilder. And she also played in the film Weird Science, which was all three great films. Weird Science is a great 80s sci-fi comedy. It's fantastic. Fantastic. The film also stars William Sadler as Senator Vernon Trent. And he's also played in such films as Die Hard 2, Die Harder, Tales from the Crypt, Demon Knight, which is one of my favorite Tales from the Crypt movies. And he also played Death in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, which he'll forever be known as Death to me, because that movie just solidified him as a great comedic actor. Not that he wasn't a great actor to start with, but that to me, that movie just solidified him as the Death character. So the plot for this film is, targeted by the mob and its political supporters, hired assassins leave LAPD detective Mason Storm for dead. 7 years later, he recovers from a deep coma, demanding justice and a chance to get even. Alright, so with that being said, let's get into the trailer for Hard to Kill. Here we go.
Steven Seagal is Mason Storm, a cop working undercover, until his cover was blown.
Whoever that is, I don't want him to get an hour older.
They thought they'd seen the last of him. But Mason Storm is hard to kill.
Mason!
Now,
He's toast, you understand?
the climate is right
We'll get him, buddy.
for revenge.
Every one of them. Think you better dial 911.
Mason Storm is about to hit back.
That wasn't the time. Now's the time.
We are going to put an end to violence, and you can take that to the bank.
Steven Seagal is hard to kill.
Take that to the bank.
All right, that was the trailer for Hard to Kill. The budget for this movie was $11,500,000. The worldwide gross for this film was $47,410,827. Not too bad. Not too bad. It was a good action movie. Hard to Kill is an entertaining action film. The amount of limb snapping may be lower than usual for a Seagal film, but the fight scenes are very good. The movie also features some of Seagal's best lines and moments. Hard to Kill provides fast and furious, amusing action non-stop. The film wastes no time satisfying the audience's bloodlust with the uppermost in its appeal is the charisma of Seagal and his Aikido movements to disarm his foes. This film is a must-watch for Seagal fans. So if you're a big fan of Steven Seagal, this film right here is a must-watch. You will thoroughly enjoy this film, this one, and of course, Under Siege, my favorite, okay? The trivia for this film is Steven Seagal and Kelly LeBrock were married at the time of filming. LeBrock had pretty much retired from filming when this film was made. And she only did it because she was married to Seagal because, he was her husband. In retrospect, she calls the film hard to watch or hard to believe. There's a lot of hard to believe in this film, but you have to watch it and just take it for what it is, which is an action film. Okay? It's just an action film. Seagal did not get along with Malmuth and considered him a poor director. Even saying in an interview at one time that Steven Seagal was surprised that Malmuth could even put one foot in front of the other, much less direct a film. Seagal had complaints including dissatisfaction with filming the action sequences and being left out of the editing process. Like I talked about in my Mikey Saturday Nightmares, Clive Barker was left out of the editing process more or less as far as what he wanted his creature to look like and go along with the story. Much the same thing here. I'm assuming that Seagal wanted to be more involved in the editing process of the film because he thought that he could lend in some expertise to it, which, maybe he could. Maybe he could, but we'll never know. We'll never know. The ranch where Mason Storm recovers from his coma is the Saddle Rock Ranch in Agoura, California, which covers over 400 acres of grassy meadows and horse trails. Also home to several mountain caves containing historical primitive drawings painted by the Native Americans. That's pretty cool right there. That is pretty cool. I'd love to be able to tour that cave and just see some of the artwork that they painted in there. That'd be awesome. While Senator Vernon Trent is making a live appearance, a billboard of Do the Right Thing from 1989 by Spike Lee can be seen in the background. I never noticed it. I'm not saying it ain't there, but I never noticed it. I didn't pay much attention to it, really. I guess that's probably why I didn't see it. Seagal's pistol in the film is a Colt Series 8 1911 with a Commander hammer and Harriet Skip checkered grips. Similar grips are seen in the movie poster, but the gun is a Colt Series 80 Gold Cup. So they used two different guns. The gun he used in the film was different than the one that was on the poster. Not that big a deal, but interesting nonetheless. William Sadler appeared in Die Hard 2 later the same year in July. William Sadler did a lot of stuff back in the day. I know you can probably hear the background stuff because I'm outside. Apologize for that. But William Sadler did a lot of stuff back in the day that was really, really good. He solidified himself as as a major actor, in my opinion, with some of the work that he did. And Seagal solidified himself as one of the better action stars by the work that he did. There were a lot of guys out there, back in the 80s and 90s that were still putting out good stuff. Nowadays, when you watch a Steven Seagal movie, of course, none of them come out to theaters. They all come out DVD or Blu-ray. And if you watch the film, you can tell some of Seagal's lines in the films are dubbed for some reason or another. I don't fully understand why, but it's not his voice that comes out most of the time. There was a couple that he did that I had watched. Mercenary for Justice, I think, is one that has kind of like some of his voice in that film is dubbed by somebody else for some reason or another. But another one of my favorite films of Steven Seagal is Exit Wounds. I thought that was a really good action movie as well. Of course, it had Tom Arnold in it, adding to the comedy of it. So that was a pretty good movie too. But Seagal had a lot of movies that came out in the mid 80s, late 90s, and beyond that were really good. I mean, he's been hit or miss for the most part, but this is one of his better action films, I think. Like I said, it's this one and Under Siege and Exit Wounds. I love Marked for Death, but not as much as I like the other ones I mentioned. But it is a good action movie nonetheless. They all are. With the exception of what he's come out with here lately. It's been subpar. And, of course, he had that little reality show where he was like a cop in Louisiana or something. And I call BS on that. I'm sorry, but I do. I just call BS on that. But anyways, this is a great film to watch. If you've never seen this film, go ahead and watch it. I'm sure you'll like it, especially if you're like into the martial arts stuff like I am. And it's a good movie just to put on to have something, going in the background. I've seen it so many times. That's usually what I do. I just pop it in and just let it play and just do whatever I need to do and just listen to it in the background. And then sometimes I catch myself stopping what I'm doing to watch some of the fight scenes, which, what else you going to do? But anyways, thank you all for tuning in. We're going to end the video here. Like I said, if you have not watched my Mikey Saturday Nightmares, go ahead and check that one out too. Check this one out. If you have any ideas for some action movies or comedy movies that you'd want me to talk about on the Classic Movie Buffet Theater, leave a list down in the comment section below. Don't forget, if you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do so. And turn on the notifications. That way, you'll get notified when each new video comes out. So until next week, this is Mike signing off, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.